As I mentioned on my past videos, the train robbers in particular love to play pranks on the conductor, and we love to give each other a good rib and tease every now and then. But those weren't the only things that went wrong on the train. Here's some other ones too. When we were working on the train at Silver Dollar City, it was not unusual for unexpected and unplanned things to happen. A blown line here and there was fairly common. People would forget what they were doing because they got caught up in the moment, forgot their lines, started laughing uncontrollably at something that happened. We'd have things like that happen on a regular basis. And it may even be something as simple as forgetting to grab your hat on the way out. We had a couple times that we would walk out with our gun belts and have the guns fall out in the middle of the show. Thankfully, they were prop guns. They weren't able to be used except for the one the conductor carried. The stuff happened. We'd even have things like people would drop stuff off of the train and you'd have to find a reason in the middle of the show to walk down the hill, go down to the train, hand it back to them, and somehow try to make it work in the script. Depending upon when they did it, if they did it right before we were robbing them, we could do it then, but otherwise you're trying to come up with another excuse and way to do it. But there were other things that were definitely much more unexpected that would cause us a much bigger pause or throw the show into a little bit of chaos sometimes. One of the things that the train at Silver Dollar City has on it is up above there is an orange pull cable. That's only supposed to be pulled in case of a medical emergency. Somebody having a heart attack, a stroke, a seizure, something like that. Something serious. But every now and then you would have somebody pull that in the middle of the show. It happened probably 4 or 5 times to me while I was out there. When that cable is pulled, it sets off an alarm, lights go off on the ends of the train so we can see which car it is, and you can hear a loud beep. So if you're in the middle of the show and all of a sudden you hear this thing, you have to stop what you're doing, stop the show, and find out what's going on, who pulled the cord, and why they pulled the cord. I can remember one time we pulled out and we had just stopped. I was the conductor, had jumped off, had run up the hill to yell at the robbers, and all of a sudden the pull cord goes off. What's going on? We just got here. Turns out it was a young boy about 9-10 years old in the back car. He genuinely thought we were getting robbed. So he was pulling the pull cable to summon help. Unfortunately, I was already the help. So we had to stop the show. We had to call it in and wait there for a little bit. Didn't really do the show because it had been kind of ruined and eventually got us going and we just went on back. We would have people that would pull it in the middle of the show every now and then because they thought it was funny. And so if that pull cable went off, we stopped everything. We would find out what was going on. We'd find out what the emergency was. Usually wasn't an emergency. Then while the conductor is getting clearances and letting the leadership know what's happened and that there's really not any problems and we'd have to go through all that routine, the robbers would have to stand out there and try to entertain the rest of the train, even though they weren't robbing the train anymore. And we would use all sorts of dumb jokes and try to do whatever we could. One of the other things that would happen occasionally is we would have other things interfere with the show. It's an amusement park. Every now and then stuff happens and people get hurt or need some help. And if we were out at the show and an ambulance had to come on park, the ambulance actually had to drive across a part of our railroad tracks up ahead. And so if they did that, they would put the train on hold. Or maybe we'd have something else that would put us on hold and delay when we could leave, at which point the engineer would lean out of the cabin up front and start signaling us, stretch, stretch. And we go, okay, we're going to have a long show. And we would start adding in every line, every extra, everything we could do to try and stretch the show out as long as possible up until the engineer let us know that we were okay, good to go. We'd get a thumbs up or he'd tell us to close it up and then we'd know that we were good to go and could wrap things up. The other thing that would happen, usually because of weather, we would get a ding up on the engine. If we had lightning within 10 miles, we had to shut down the whole train because it's running on 2 giant lightning rods, also known as rails. If we had lightning come near or there was a threat of a strong storm coming in or something else had happened that we didn't know about, the engineer would signal us with ringing the bell. That ringing of the bell meant we had 30 seconds to wrap it up, get the conductor back down on the train, and get him out of here. Short show, sorry folks, you're done. We actually had one time when the conductor hopped off the train right as he got up to the hill. What are you bowling soon? Stopping my train. Ding, ding. Never mind. I don't want to hear it. And he turns around, walks down the hill, shoots Ralphie Bowling, and gets back on the train, and they go. That was the whole show. But probably the most dramatic blunder that I had happened to me when I was conducting one day. The conductors actually carry real 20 gauge shotgun. They're not toys. They're not props. They're real shotguns. Where the conductor sits in the back, he's got a seat, and then he's got a clip that he would actually lock his gun into that would hold it while they were riding on the train. so he wasn't holding the gun, wouldn't have to worry about it. As I'm going out from the station one time, we were approaching Fire in the Hole, and all of a sudden I hear this kablang, boom. What on earth? Looked around. It sounded like something hit the top of my car, and I thought branch fell off or something else had happened, and I'm looking around. I don't see anything. Everything looks good. Okay, we keep on going. As we come out close to the show, I reach over to grab the gun to get ready, and I realize the gun's not there. Apparently, the gun clip broke, and it fell off onto the tracks over by Fire in the Hole, where there's people. I immediately grabbed my radio that we have in the back, let them know as well as I could what had happened. I dropped something rather important off the back of the train that you might want to go fetch because it's not loaded. And you're trying not to say what it is because the radios can be heard by other people in the park. It kind of set off a little bit of a panic among people when they realized what had happened. There's a gun, real gun, out on the railroad tracks. Go get it! So the maintenance guys are heading off to try to catch that and track it down in a hurry before anything else happens. And I'm facing the prospect, I've got to walk up into this train robbery show and face off 2 train robbers. I don't have a gun. The gun is probably the most important thing that the conductor has, because it's what he uses to scare and intimidate the robbers. I have no gun. And I'm in a panic because I'm worrying about where my gun is on the tracks and that nobody else has found it. And how am I going to face these robbers? What are you doing stopping my train? Having fun? What are you going to do about it? I had a lot of dramatic posing. Look, you, I'm not real pleased with you, and if you don't stop, I'll do something. I'll point at you. Because there's nothing else I can do. I've got no gun to threaten to shoot them. I'm usually one of the bigger pranksters and goofs out there. And here I am completely at the robber's mercy. And I know it as soon as I hop off the train. I think I would have felt more comfortable walking up that hill with no clothes on than without that gun. Because I felt so naked and so ready to be victimized. And my robbers were kind to me. They were so gentle. We got through the first part of the show with me kind of yelling at them and posing. I went off to go look up in the woods, and I came back, caught them robbing the train, put on my big bluster. I come back and here I find you robbing my train. Oh yeah? What are you gonna do about it? And Ralphie actually slips me his gun. Alf turns to Ralphie. What did you do that for? I felt sorry for him. And so I finished the last part of the show with Ralphie's gun, set it down on the ground as I got back on the train so he would have it later, and headed off back into the station. Thankfully, our maintenance guys found the gun before anything else had happened. And nothing bad happened, except probably the most awkward show I have ever had to do in my life. It was an amusing moment. It's something I laugh about now, but oh, it could have gone so wrong. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this story about probably the biggest flub up I ever made on the train. Hope you got a good kick out of it. Please don't forget to like and share the video. Give me your comments. Thank you so much, too, for subscribing. We're over 200 subscribers now, and I am so excited and thankful for all of you. Thanks so much for subscribing. Thanks for letting me hear from you. Appreciate it.